to the Detroit Lions. Inside the Den 2023 episode 3 dropped last night on YouTube. Who needs Hard Knocks when you have this type of access? You always wanted to be inside a draft room, inside a war room. I think every sports fan, every football fan, that's one of their dreams. I wonder what it's like on draft night inside. Well, you got a look last night inside the war room. Here is an interaction between Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell when the Lions were on the clock at 6. This is courtesy of Inside the Den.
Enjoy the battle.
No! Yes! Oh my God. I appreciate you too. That was great.
It's the highest counter.
Oh man. I know.
In Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes when they got Broderick Martin.
How bad did
round.
Dan Campbell want Broderick Martin?
Yeah.
He really wanted him, and they were so happy that he landed on their board. They looked at their board, and they're like, holy crow, he's the highest guy on our board, and he's there. They couldn't believe it, and they were – Dan Campbell, I think, it might have been his favorite pick besides Jack Campbell.
Well, they couldn't believe it, and you saw these just an overarching theme of the night. The room, just let me take you back to the number 6 pick. They were prepared to take Jahmyr Gibbs at 6. Then the phone rang, and it was Arizona. And they were trying to play this game of Russian roulette. Is Gibbs going to be there at 12? And they took a shot, and he was. When he was there at 12, Braylon, the room exploded. It was almost like they won the lottery. That's how they felt, because they took a gamble moving from 6 to 12, and he was there. It exploded. And they did win the lottery. They felt like they won the lottery by taking Jahmyr Gibbs at 12.
See, this goes back to what I talk about Brad Holmes being his own guy, being his own man. And Detroit Lions, he and Dan Campbell, when they are together, those guys are on the same, they're always together. They're on the same page. Remember when the Detroit Lions drafted Jahmyr Gibbs at 12? Remember the outrage from the NFL community, if you will, the fan base. Who the hell is Jahmyr Gibbs at 12? The rest of the people watching the draft, who is this? The Detroit Lions would have drafted him at 6. The Detroit Lions knew who they wanted. They knew who fit their system. They knew what they wanted. He vets the process. He understands the players that are going to fit to make the Detroit Lion grit model continue to move forward. They knew who they wanted. They took a chance, and they still got him at 12. That's why they were that excited. But what I'm excited about is not that they were that excited at 12. I'm excited that they were going to draft him at 6 and took a chance and waited till 12, and it worked out. You hit the nail on the head the other day, Maz. You talked about things going wrong in Detroit. Like, no matter how good you think things are, something happens to remind you that this is the same old Lions. Things are starting to stack up for you to believe this isn't the same regime. This isn't the same bad luck Lions. Things are happening for the Lions. You look at C.J. Gardner-Johnson the other day going down. It's not that big of a deal. You look at this. Oh, well, Jahmyr Gibbs at 12. No, they wanted him at 6. And they got him at 12 and also was able to get Jack Campbell at 18.
Hey, instead of getting one player, they rolled the dice, and they got both players they wanted. We have that video now from Inside the Den. This is when they were on the phone with Arizona trying to move up.
Gibbs, that was easy. So, yeah, we'd have been comfortable at 6 and did it. But when you get into having an opportunity to maximize that 6 overall pick, we couldn't be any more thrilled with how that came out.
What's up, man? You are gonna come on? Give me 1 second, I'll call you back. Arizona, what's up?
The thing I love about this is this is great for the running back position. The reason why this is great for the running back position is all week, what have we been talking? Actually, for the last 3 weeks, what have we been talking about? How the running back position is not valued. The running back position is not respected. Guys are having to sign contracts that aren't necessarily worth their value. You know what? They should stop playing running back. Kids should now want to play wide receiver, quarterback only, DB only. They don't want to play running back. The fact that the Detroit Lions came out and said, we would have taken him at 6, but they still took him at 12. Bijan Robinson goes in the first round, top 10. This is good for the running back position because the running backs can say, you know what, the hell with that. There still is a space for the running back. And if I'm special enough, then a team will find me, and a team will plug me in a place to be worth my value. I love that for the running back position.
You know what I also love is throughout the episode last night, you saw this theme of Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes. And to me, it's so darn inspiring as a Lions fan. I'm not sure you've ever seen this relationship. Now, this is with more cameras. We're seeing a look inside more. But I'm not sure you've ever seen this type of relationship between head coach and general manager before. And it's real. It's not fake. It's not forced. It's not for the cameras. They are so in sync with one another that you can't help but have that culture shift. You want to know why this culture has changed with the Detroit Lions? Sure, Sheila Ford, Sheila Hamp. She has done everything right, seemingly. You know, she hired Chris Spielman to help with the coaching search, to help with the GM search. And this hierarchy of the organization is so together, Braylon Edwards. I'm not sure you have this relationship. I mean, we're partial to our Lions.
Right.
But let me say this. I know they have not had this in the existence of the Detroit Lions.
No, they haven't. And
not here.
No, they haven't had that in existence of the Detroit Lions, not here in terms of we're having a 3-level partnership where the owner, the general manager, and the coach are all on the same page. And you're seeing that. I guarantee you, when they bought in Dan Campbell, when they bought in first Dan Brad Holmes, when they bought those guys in like that, everybody was like, oh, shoot. The GM didn't get a chance to pick the head coach. That was a big thing.
That's a great point.
You
forget about that.
It's a big. You forget about it because of how well they work together.
Right.
They are all on the same page, man. They meet, they talk. You can tell they speak and move as one. They're different people, 100%, but they move as one, and they're on the same page. And that's why the Lions are going to be successful. When they probably came into a meeting, now I'm speculating, but based on how they're doing, the speculation could be true. When they came in, it's like, how can we change the Detroit Lions? Like, I'm talking about the Detroit Lions from the 80s, the 70s, the 90s, the 2000s, the ones my dad played for. It's like, how can we be different? Well, 3 levels have never been on the same page. Like Terry Foster comes on the show and always says, 3 Mile Island. It's their fault. Well, it's their fault. Well, it's their fault. It's a consistent circles of pointing fingers, never being on the same page. What was wrong with the Quentin Trisha era? What was wrong with the Matt Millen? What was wrong? They looked at all of that and said, it's that we all have to be on the same team, and we got to build this thing up. It's just like it's just like Metropolitan in Detroit. There are potholes that they fix every year. They know that if they really want to fix those potholes to where they don't need to fix them again, they got to go under 6 feet deep. But they never go 6 feet deep. They always go about 4 feet deep. They do a surface. It works for the winter. Winter comes. Winter messes up again. Then they got to start over. They keep just being surface with it. You know, putting makeup on it or putting
lipstick on a pig.
Putting cologne on stink. You can't. Eventually, the stink comes through. They said we got to go deeper than those 4 feet. We got to go deeper than those 6 feet. We got to go all the way down 10 feet, 12 feet deep, and build it up so that it doesn't fall again like the Empire State Building mass.
Listen, guys, this new regime with Sheila leading, first thing she does, she's Sheila Hamp. She's not Sheila Ford Hamp. I'm just saying.
That's a big thing. You're right.
That's a little thing, but she makes the move. She hires this new regime. What do? They mend fences with Barry Sanders. They mend fences with Calvin Johnson.
That's a great point,
Those two guys were very much involved welcoming the rookies in when they were coming in to talk to the press the day after the draft. Calvin Johnson was there talking them up. Barry Sanders rode in the limo with Jahmyr Gibbs talking, just little stuff. And to see Barry sitting there, you know, the way he looks now, he's like a regular old dude now. Who would know that he was the greatest running back of all time? He's sitting there with Jahmyr Gibbs, who was the most humble kid I have ever seen. I think this kid is like a dynamite. He's like a stick of dynamite ready to explode. And Jack Campbell riding with who? Chris Spielman.
Yeah.
I told you guys that was Chris Spielman's pick from the get-go. I don't know if he didn't pick him.
Yeah.
I know that. But he is the linebacker, probably the greatest linebacker, one of them in Lions history. And here he is riding with Jack Campbell saying, hey, you got it all. You got everything. I think Chris Spielman wants to play again, just watching Jack Campbell, who is even more humble than Jahmyr Gibbs. They go for the best people and the best players. I'm so impressed with what they did. It's just great the way this whole thing, it's kumbaya at Allen Park, and we needed it after what the hell we've been going through.
And here comes the second round, and Sam Laporta and Brian Branch are just as humble as those two guys. You're absolutely right. They're picking a certain kind of individual. But just getting back to the Jahmyr Gibbs thing and Barry Sanders mask, icons, and yes, I use the word icon because he is the GOAT. He is the greatest of all time. I don't want to have this discussion. It isn't up for discussion unless you say OG or Sweetness, and then I may back off. Barry Sanders and icons like him, Ryan, they don't validate people just for the sake of the organization. They don't validate people just to make that person feel good and give him a better shot to be a better player. Icons and GOATs, they don't validate people unless it's worthy of being validated. That's something I paid attention to. Barry validating him, that's not just somebody saying, yo, he's going to – that's Barry Sanders saying, I'm putting my neck, my reputation on the line that he's going to be that good. That's what I saw.
You know, it's so funny, too. You mentioned those car rides. Barry's talking to Jahmyr Gibbs about his chain. He's like, what's that? I see all the kids wearing it.
That's my name.
I see. And he's like, it's my name. And then Gibbs is like, you'd have one, too, if you were playing. And he's like, I probably would. But you've got Gibbs and Barry talking, oh, you know what you do growing up, playing basketball, this, that, the other. Calvin Johnson's talking about something else. And then you have Jack Campbell and Chris Spielman talking about footwork and ball.
Right.
Just talking about football.
I love it. I love it. I'm going to tell you, like,
so funny.
That's all Spielman's about.
Just ball.
You know what I love about this even more? The franchises I were at that had success, Maz and Ryan, like the franchises that had Super Bowl wins, the franchises that had been to Super Bowls, the franchises that they get it, you respect them, they had the former players, the icon, the legends community. They were always around. I can't tell you how many times I saw Jerry Rice when I was in 49ers camp and when I was in 49ers games. I can't tell you how many times I saw Joe Klecko and the Sack Exchange, or the New York Sack Exchange, and number 12, Joe Namath. I can't tell you how many times I saw Walter. What was the left tackle? Walter Smith.
Walter Jones.
I can't tell you how many times I saw Walter Jones, enough to forget his name, but I can't tell you how many times I saw Walter Jones. Warren Moon was there. Stevie Largent was around. The communities that win, I mean, the Steelers community, the teams that win Super Bowls, they have a legends community that is very active and very present in their current administration. You name a team, I'll name you the veterans that are there.